Greetings and welcome to the coverage of the T20 Cricket World Cup in 2021. Today is October 31st, 2021, and we'll be covering the two games that took place today, Afghanistan versus Namibia and India versus New Zealand. We do a posting every day to cover the games that took place during the day. We take a look at the major performances individually and for the team. And we try to take a look at the points table as well, try to figure out the paths for each team on what does it take for them to make it to the next round. Of course, as the championship is progressing, we're getting closer to a certain well-defined structure, and we'll take a look at that in just a moment. So again, two important games for Group 2, Afghanistan versus Namibia and India versus New Zealand. So before the games, let's take a quick look at what the points table looked like. Those of you who are following this series and watch the video every day, first of all, we appreciate your support. And secondly, we mentioned earlier that we'll be adding the net run rate in one of these sessions. So we've added that in today's session. If you were to download the latest spreadsheet by clicking on the link down below, this is the spreadsheet that you would be seeing. And you now have a new column for net run rate. So for every team after today's games, this is what the equation looks like. So as you can see here, Pakistan is leading the group with 6 points by virtue of their 3 victories against India, New Zealand, and Afghanistan. Afghanistan and Namibia are both on the second spot, second and third spot with 2 points apiece. New Zealand, India, and Scotland have yet to register a single victory. They've only played 1 or 2 games. They still have got many games remaining. So the second game today between India versus New Zealand, that's taking on a very crucial role. Given that both the teams have lost to Pakistan and they both have to play against Scotland, Namibia, and Afghanistan. So if both of them were hypothetically to have the same results against the 3 oppositions, either they win all 3 or they win 2 of the 3 games. In those cases, today's game takes on a very important role to determine the outcome and the pathway for each team in this tournament. So it's a must game, really it's a must-win game for both the sides. So let's see what happened in this game. This is the scorecard for India versus New Zealand. It wasn't meant to be for India. They batted first, and as you can, which is not easily obvious just by looking at the scorecard, but every batsman who was out was caught at the boundary. KL Rahul, Ishan, Rohit, Virat Kohli, Pandya, they were all out, even Thakur towards the end, they were all caught at the boundary. What does that mean? It means that they mistimed the strokes, they did not give it, and as Virat Kohli said after the game, we were not confident enough, we were double-minded. So a bit of that happened, a bit of they allowed the bowlers to dominate, they allowed the pressure of the situation to force them into these forced errors. As you can see, 18, 4, 14, 9, 12, not decent scores. They got some starts, but they were not able to capitalize on those. Virat Kohli scored 9 off of 17 deliveries. They just were never up to the standard. Their projected score was about 115 at the most, and they ended up with 110 in their 20 overs for the loss of 7 wickets. A lot of soul searching obviously is required after this game. They didn't give their bowlers enough to work with, and when the New Zealand team came out to bat, they clearly were under no pressure at all. The bowlers, no matter how capable and how strong they are, they just were not able to muster any support from the conditions. Everyone chipped in, everyone scored, and they reached the target in the 15th over with a lot of time to spare. So with these 2 points, crucial 2 points for this group, and with that, New Zealand, let's give this victory to New Zealand, and then we'll take a look at the points table in just a moment. Let's now jump to the other game, Afghanistan versus Namibia. So Afghanistan clearly has played, as we mentioned in our earlier issues, they have played a dominant role in this position. They have really dominated, very strong, aggressive batting lineup. They've got very strong, world standard spinners in the bowling department. They can overwhelm any opposition. And even in today's game, as you can see, Afghanistan versus Namibia, it just wasn't Namibia's day. Afghanistan came in, they batted first, and they came with all guns blazing, delivering on all cylinders. They scored 50 runs in the power play in the first 6 overs, 70 in the first 10 overs, and 90 in the second half of the inning in the last 10 overs. Total of 160 in 20 overs, a very formidable total, especially given the fact that they have a very strong bowling lineup as well. Everyone chipped in, of course, and they played to their potential. They played exactly as they were expected. They scored 160 and put the ball now before Namibia to see how they could respond. Namibia, even though they've had a terrific run in the World Cup, and we'll go over that in one of our future episodes about the journey that they've had to go through. But today just wasn't that day. As you can see, they got some starts, everyone, but only some of them. And David Wise scored 26, but with the exception of him, no one else was able to stay there long enough. And they were 98 for 9 in their 20 overs allocation. So they lost heavily by 62 runs. So with these two results, let's go ahead and take a look at the points table. They actually won this game by 62. All right. So now that when you look at the points table for Group 2, and let's see where things stand. Pakistan is still on top of the leaderboard with 6 points. Afghanistan now has 4 points. And New Zealand has gotten ahead of Namibia. They both have 2 points each by virtue of their solitary win, but New Zealand is ahead by way of the superior net run rate. India does not yet have a score, have a point on the board, and as does Scotland. So as you mentioned earlier, the pathway now for India becomes hard. They have to win the remaining matches against Afghanistan, Scotland, and Namibia. There's absolutely no doubt. All 3 of these games are must-win games for them. In addition, they need some other scenarios to happen. They need Afghanistan to not win any more games. They need New Zealand to win no more than 1 game. This is really the outcome that India needs to happen. Clearly, for teams which are winning the game, they control their own destiny, and just by sheer results of their own game, they're able to qualify for the next round. New Zealand, at this point in time, controls their own destiny. They have played 2 games, won 1 and lost 1. In the remaining 3 games, if they win 2, they have a good chance. If they win all 3, then they will most certainly be able to qualify for the next round. So again, a lot of games are still remaining, but teams do have the work cut out for them. So this ends very short session today. 2 games that took place: Afghanistan versus Namibia, India versus New Zealand. They changed some of the situation in Group 2. Tomorrow is an important game for Group 1, England versus Sri Lanka. Let's take a look at where the things stand on Group 1. England is leading the group with 6 points. South Africa and Australia are with 4 points. South Africa has got a much better net run rate as compared to Australia. And Sri Lanka and West Indies both have 2 points apiece. So in tomorrow's game, it's an important game for Sri Lanka to win. In fact, sorry, I take that back. It's a must-win game for Sri Lanka. With 2 games remaining, they need to win both of them to have a chance. Again, they will not be guaranteed a spot into the next round, but at least with the 6 points on the table, they have a chance. They cannot win. They cannot lose any game. So again, England doesn't have to win. They could just go on a cruise control, and no matter what the outcome is, England will more or less safe. But it's a crucial game for Sri Lanka. So let's come back, regroup tomorrow, and see where things stand. And then the games beyond tomorrow, they would be, as we can see over here. The next game is South Africa versus Bangladesh, and Pakistan versus Namibia. And we'll come back and cover those games as well. Thank you again for your support of this program. And we look forward to spending some more time with you again. If you have any feedback, any comments, any thoughts, please feel free to provide them at the bottom. And we'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to incorporate your feedback in our future sessions. Thanks again. Have a wonderful day.